Good afternoon. Welcome to the Big Dam. This your boy Bobby Hill. Nice to see y'all today. Nice to hear from y'all today. Hope everything going good with you. Like in every show before I start, I'd like to give a shout out to my lovely wife. She's at work right now. She's my backbone. She helps me with every time. Helps me with all this. We lean on each other. So always going to give her props first thing. Let her know that she the reason why we doing this. So that being said, um, looking up last seen online today, you know, all the people out here in Mexico sit in the streets watching their game, in the World Cup. They big, I think it was 2-0 win over Ecuador, and oh my God, that was. I don't know, man. I don't know what it counted, but I'm saying if it had, like it was a million people out there. I mean, serious, not. I'm literally like there was a million people out there. There was a lot of people out there. It was very celebratory, and this event brings out that in the world. That's why rightfully so. There's an argument because in this country we have this bias. We think that everything is centered. We are the center of the universe, and everything is. Excuse me. Sorry. That everything is revolved around Western civilization and whatever we like it should be. That's what's cracking. So with that being said, they think that us in this country we think that Super Bowl is the biggest event in the world, and they only think that here. Everywhere else says that the World Cup is the biggest event in the world. And the World Cup, they showed you that's the biggest event in the world. The way countries, where these countries just, celebrate it and just take it so personally. And, that, excuse me. And it's been, United States for the most part hasn't, it's big everywhere. It's big here, but it's not like it is in other countries. It's not. They don't celebrate it like it's celebrated. Like you won't see a million people. And now, if the United States mess around and win a World Cup, now they will. I think if they win or get like in the semifinals or in the finals, I think the United States will celebrate it. Like they will, they will celebrate it because it'll be a first, and that would. But I don't. But for the most part, like this wasn't last night. That wasn't a final match. That was Mexico winning to make it to the round of 16. So that wasn't even a quarterfinal match. So and they're like that. So with North United States, we won't have passion like that unless we were in the finals or maybe semifinals, something maybe semifinals or finals. Will bring out that in this country. So I mean, it's because we got America. We got this. Whether we want to admit it or not, we got this arrogance about us that we everything we participate in, we feel like we should you know be one of the top in, and you can't be number one in everything. You can't be top in everything. But and the thing is about it's interesting. I can only speak in my. I can only talk of this through my eyes and my like in my life. I can't like explain it. Like I can't you know talk about what someone else thinks about it or what someone else have experienced. I can only go through my eyes what I experienced, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've whatever. So the thing is about soccer. It's an I played soccer for one season. Now I don't think I tried out for one season. I played. I remember playing maybe in one game. Matter of fact, I played soccer before I played. This is gonna sound well. I played football before I played American football. I played soccer before I played football. First thing I played was baseball, but I played soccer next, and I didn't. I wasn't into soccer like that. I mean, just it ain't. and because I don't like soccer, I just never, we just wasn't playing. We were playing basketball, we were playing baseball, playing football and stuff. So and that's like that. It's like that in a lot of communities across this country, especially the African American community where where it's proven, especially in the South, it was proven where, where all the athletes are at, the most athletic people in the United States and stuff like that in the South, in this heat. But we not out here playing soccer. The reason I always say this, the reason why the United States does not fare well, never fare like can never make it like to the top teams in the World Cup is because the best athletes in the United States does not play soccer, don't play soccer. In the other countries, the best athletes in their country play soccer. Some of them play basketball in some countries, but most of them play soccer. So when you have your best athletes in this country playing soccer, and they play everywhere. The way we used to play pickup basketball, that's the way these countries play soccer. Matter of fact, they don't need, someone don't need no goal. All they need is a ball and some space. I seen a place somewhere here in San Antonio where it looked like a pickup. It looked like a pickup basketball, like basketball. You play pickup basketball. Except it was a soccer court. It was small. It was concrete. Had little soccer goals there and stuff, and that's crazy. So I can see that. I think that would be fun. Put like a little miniature, almost like half court basketball. Play like a game of soccer on a basketball sized court. The real soccer court, the soccer field. Oh my God, that's 140 yards. I think 120 yards, something like that. So yeah. Yes, I think that's the reason why. And growing up, it ain't the only people that play soccer were the white boys. I ain't gonna lie, white boys play soccer. That's why I always associated soccer with. So when I first seen my first glimpse of Pele, I was flabbergasted. Like, Dad, I ain't never seen nobody look like me play soccer. But he wasn't from the United States. He was from South America. So but then I knew that it wasn't just the white people that play soccer. When I seen that and learned about the World Cup and different people and stuff. So, but in my, I only know in my growing up, and I only know two people. Hold on, no, I think if my memory serves me correct, if I'm wrong, forgive me, but the only people of African descent that I known to play soccer in my town growing up was we call him Boo Bear. We call my man Buck, and the brothers Terry and Isaac Green. That's it. Nobody else. I mean, we didn't. A lot of us didn't play soccer and stuff, so it just wasn't. And that's why there's like there's a great athlete in a high school. They're not going to push him to play soccer. They're going to push him to play, one of the baseball, basketball, football, maybe run track and stuff. They would not, unless the kid just wants to play soccer. He just not, but they would not push him. But because I mean, I don't know, things may have changed now. I mean, no, things may have changed, but all I see the great athletes in the United States don't play basketball, and the greatest athletes in the United States do not swim. And that was my argument with swimming too about and I know people. I've had arguments online about this, and people, some people agree, some people disagree. Some people don't, think I'm being, things about. It's not about race. It's not about. It's just stating facts, man. It's stating like physical facts and stuff like that. You know, Especially when the topic came up about Michael Phelps. Him winning, he's an accomplished swimmer, Olympian. He's had a lot of medals. Probably the most accomplished as far as totality of wins and medals and stuff. Probably the most accomplished Olympian of all time. But that because you're accomplished don't make you the best. And my argument was because there's always been a myth around us as a people that black people can't swim, and that's furthest from the truth. I've always known how to swim, and I've had no problem with it. And I've known other people, other friends of mine that know how to swim, that can swim real good. And like I said, the best athletes, yes, he's done a lot. He broke records and everything, but don't tell me that he was the best. He because he didn't face the best athletes. The best athletes right here don't swim. The best swimmers don't swim. Tim Duncan was a swimmer. Well, Tim Duncan was a great swimmer. He decided, man, nah, I just want to play some basketball. You don't think that other long, lanky, tall people that could slither through water that decide to go play basketball or decide to be a wide receiver? There's stuff. Look at stuff like that, man. People don't want to look at that or be honest about it, or you say the truth, and it's okay, man. They don't make stuff. They don't diminish people's accomplishments when you bring up stuff like that. When you bring up facts, it's not going to diminish. It's not going to take away Michael Phelps any of his medals. But that's what I think. Honestly, I think that the fact that he didn't face swimming in the United States and swimming is not that is not we ain't been swimming. I mean, there. I heard this from somebody that if you want to see the state of racism in the United States, look at the swimming pools in the United States. You know, they don't, as far as swimming together, as far as it's still an issue as far as with white people swimming with black people sharing pools and stuff like that. So we weren't never privy, or we didn't never taught how to, or we never known how to. We did want to swim and stuff like that, other than a swimming pool, a park swimming pool. We had nowhere we could go. We didn't have access to that. White people wasn't trying to share pools with us, so we didn't know what to do. So what we do? Well, we go play some pickup basketball. We go play some baseball, football, kickball, something other than that. So don't tell me that that didn't factor in not having the best competition in certain areas. So people don't like when you bring stuff up. They think you're trying to diminish things, and not. And like I said, just stating facts. Just stating facts. The best athletes in the United States don't play soccer, so the United States don't do well in the World Cup. The fastest people in the fastest, quickest people, and the other teams, the way they have the quick, very fast and stuff like that. Think about the United States, the quickest people, the fastest people in the United States. What did they do? They run track, they play football, they're a running back, wide receiver, a skill position, or a defensive back, a return man, something like that, or they play basketball. You know or they play baseball. They don't play. They don't do soccer. You know, because it's just I don't know. Growing up, like I said, I seen a lot of on the team in high school. Like I said, there wasn't many Hispanic people in our high school. It was just mostly black people and white people, and there were Native Americans in our school. That was the makeup of our school. There was a few like Hispanics, but they were children of migrant workers. They come to our school, and we had a couple foreign exchange students. That's it. We didn't have it was just that. So that's why I say the most time, my correlation with soccer was to white boys because that's all they played soccer, and a couple black boys sprinkled in there like some pepper. That's it. That's it. So my only my first time, when I so seeing soccer, other than seeing white boys playing soccer, the only other time when I used to play soccer and baseball was when, the the Hispanics, the migrant workers, the Hispanics, they lived in their community, but on Sundays, they would come out into the park in our town and, either they'll play baseball, everybody will be out, they'll have party, festive, they have everything. They have the whole, everybody, hundreds of people out there, you know, they'll watch them play baseball or they'll play soccer. They'd be out there on the soccer field, a bunch of people out here watching, very festive and everything. And that was my, you know, first glimpse of someone other than, a white boy playing soccer. But like I said, we never played soccer. I mean, we had fields, we could play soccer, but we wasn't into stuff like that. We went into, you know, the only time we kicked the ball was playing kickball, basically. But I like kicking the ball. I played kicker. Believe it or not, I was a kicker in high school. I kicked field goals and I used to do kickoffs. When I was a freshman in high school, I kicked the ball from I think the 35 or 40-yard line. I kicked it out of the back of the end zone over the fence. So yeah, we used to but we never got with soccer. And I don't know why. I think the reason I think in our community, I can't speak for everybody. I'm just projecting. Maybe I'm just trying to. I don't know, but to my experience in life and to my knowledge, the reason why I think soccer has don't pick up in the black community because you can't use your hands. And we a sport, we like using our hands. I mean, we like using our hands and stuff, but not being able to use your hands sort of nullifies. We just I don't know. That will bot. I would get I don't know. It'd be hard for me to play soccer because I'll be one unless I play goalie. I understand playing goalie. I bet it's fun playing goalie because you get to grab the ball and throw it and stuff like that. So I couldn't. I don't know. But it's good to look at. I haven't seen any games because I've been busy and stuff. But I see the highlights and I see the festivities and things. And there's people around here. They're very festive and they're very just like they're not festive. They're not San Antonio Spurs festive, but they're they support the country they support. And it's and like I said, it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm glad it's going on because you need something to unite people. Need something here in this, time to unite people and all this division going on. So, people can look at that it and feel good about themselves, feel good about their country and why they're here and stuff. So it can be a good thing, and I'm glad that it's going right now because the world needs it. The world needs the World Cup right now to drown out all this craziness of these old like former President Obama said. I agree with him 100%. Part of the problems in this world come from old men that's too afraid to give up power, trying to hang on to power. Let the young people, let the next people run this world and sit back and retire and spend all this damn money you done stole from the damn people. They're afraid to get out of power because they're afraid when they get out of power, they might go to jail. That's why these people trying to hold on to power, especially these ones that have done like, Donald Trump. He's convicted. He was scared that when he didn't get elected, he was going to go to jail, and that would have happened. You got in Israel, you got Benjamin Netanyahu, all them corruption charges and everything. You ain't heard about that no more. If he mess around and lose and get out of power, that he's going to jail. They're gonna lock him up. So and Vladimir Putin, all of that. If he somehow, by the grace of God, he gets out of power, he's probably something gonna happen to him. They're gonna exile him or something. So that's part of the problem in this world. So but seeing all that, it's good to see, everybody's uniting, with their team, basic fandom, and everybody being showing their basic, like, being a kid, almost like being a kid again, you know, the basic instinct, the cheer for someone that's someone, something, some idea that you love to cheer for, and that's what the World Cup brings, and that's a beautiful thing because you know there are a lot of things to be mad at around here. You know, these gas going down, and that's good. It ain't because of damn Trump. And I know he probably, I ain't because of me. No, it ain't because of you, cuz you the reason they went up. Now they just back to normal where they was at before you did all this crazy mess for no reason. So no, but oh well. Like I said, people get some people get upset or whatever, getting their feelings because of what I said about the soccer. But that's the truth in this country, man. I mean, they trying to get better. I seen they do the Major League Soccer, trying to throw money at it or trying to get it to, what they want is to think it's going to catch hold like football, like American football or the NBA or what the way baseball used to be. They think soccer is going to do something like that, and I just don't see it. I can't. The NFL has too much of a damn stronghold on the fabric of this country to allow soccer to come in and overtake it. They make over $9 billion a year. They're not going to let soccer come and take over. They're not. They're not in this. And the government, they're just not, man. These people are not. They too much money, too much advertisement, too much. They sell too much of America through football, American football, to let soccer come to overtake it. So, no matter, they're not going to be as popular as football unless only way, something overtakes football is if it almost happened a couple years ago. But if someone, I don't even know that. Honestly, the way this word, I don't know if that might change it. But if a player like dies on the field, it literally dies on the field. Would that affect football? I don't know because like I said, almost happened a few years ago, and I mean, the train just keep on running. I mean, the numbers ain't down. I mean, everybody said what they had to say, and everybody mourned and said their piece and donated their money and did what they had their little viral moments. But all of that, after all that, NFL still the same. Even with the CTE, I don't care. They talk about it's very sad, it's very tragic. I was a fan of his too, Chris Johnson, man. I hope he, I just a tragic. That's a bad, sad situation, man. Just it happens, it happens. It's just part of life, man. Just think it's just a bad part of life, man. Some people, you know, contract, different things that makes it hard for them. It just, I don't. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no people want to throw in. I mean, he throw in football and all that and everything. And yes, I mean, but it happens to everyday people too, not just football players and athletes. So that's why you can't just totally say sports all the time. It just, sometimes life sucks. Sometimes people, good people. Sometimes good people have bad situations. Or sometimes good people have bad things happen to them. You know, you know. And who knows, man? Seeing Chris Light, man, he was able to do amazing things. He was great at East Carolina. He went to the Tennessee Titans, and he had 2,000 yards, and he was a transcendent player. And he inspired a lot of people, man. And maybe this right here is just another way he can inspire people, man. Maybe sometimes as us as humans, we're called to do that. Sometimes we never know who may be called to do that, to have to go through this, to serve as an example to, maybe, get yourself together. Like I always say at the end of my show, man, tell your loved ones that, get closer to your loved ones because you never know. This stuff like this can happen to anybody. Nobody's immune from that. So like I said, it's a bad, it's a tragic situation, man. He was a very talented player. And it's hard to see someone when you see all the highlights of them, running, looking like, looking bigger than life, faster than life out here. To see them in a vulnerable situation like that, man, it's just a very humbling fact of life, man. Just, life is precious. Life is precious. And, you know, as far as, little, I hope young athletes, it don't matter what sport you play, man, look at that and say, sports is only a small part of your life. You have a few people that are exceptional that will be involved in sports for a long time, more than half their life. Because you look at people like Kobe Bryant, You can look at LeBron James. You look at people who've been able to have long, and other ones too. They would have long careers in the early part of their lives, but it's still in. It's only a small part of their lives, you know. And look at the great Michael Jordan back. Look at Michael Jordan back here. That right there was only a small part of his life, you know. So don't think it's all about the now. Think about what happens after all that. After you hang up the jersey, after you hang up the cleats or the shoes and all that, you have to live an everyday life, man. Think about that, man. Be grateful that you've been given opportunity, man. Make the most of it, to help people, man. Don't be out here trying to, be out here trying to divide people. If someone don't agree with what you agree with, man, disagree, but don't insult the person's existence or insult the person's intelligence or insult the person's whatever, manhood or womanhood or sexuality or whatever, just because they don't agree with you, man. That's childish. And that's where we at now, where people don't agree and they get personal and they get mad or whatever and things. Somebody disrespecting you because they don't agree with you. Nah, man, we just got different brains. We grew up in different eras. We grew up in different areas in the world, in the country. We got taught by different people. We gonna have different ideas. You know, so try to learn to. I learned at an early age to try to have an open mind. Don't be is more than one way to do stuff. Man. You learn how to do stuff, and you learn there's other ways, and people do it other ways. You might not like their way, but you can take a little piece of something that they're doing and add it, what they do and add it to you, and make you better. So, but you got to be willing to do that. You got to be open minded and be willing to do that. Be willing to, be a sponge and let stuff in. You know, everything you let in might not be good for you, but then you got to have a good enough filter to know what's good for you, and what's bad for you. And the stuff that ain't good for you, let it go. You know, you know. But like I said, it's glad it's whatever all this. Like I said, with the World Cup and all this festive and everything, man. Like I said, it's good to see that people are just finding things to be positive about, man. Because there's certainly a whole lot of stuff to be negative about, but we can sit here all day and talk. I can sit here all day and talk about negative stuff and negative things that happen. Just in this area of Texas, I can talk about this negative stuff. And I ain't talking about other parts of the country or the world. But why do that for, man? It's not going to help people, man. I'm here trying to help people, trying to, maybe people can help me, tell me what I can do better. Try to help people, try to, let them see that, there's different ways of doing stuff, or I understand what you're going through, man. Let me give you a bit of advice, or let me see can I give you a bit of knowledge. As Pot said, let me give you a little bit of this game for free, and that's why I talk. Shout out to my man Ant Mano, man. Shout out to him, man. But we talk to him. I talk to him all the time. I tell him we talk about when I be being like being a parent, step parent, whatever. You talking to these young kids, man. They don't understand, man. We're giving these people game for free, man. Game for free. Any other place you try to get this game, you have to pay for it, either through a subscription or a streaming service. That's what I'm giving you game for free, real life game for free. Not because I want anything back from you, not because I want you to pay me back or whatever. Nah, because I just want to see, the young people, especially young men. I want to see them strive in this world because they're gonna be the one in charge when we all gone. So you want to, try to guide them in the right place. And it's hard because they don't listen, but you just got to, stay strong and just and don't fold. They're gonna test you. They're gonna test you, but they stay strong and don't fold. I'm telling you. But yeah, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad. Just I'm just grateful that yes, I'm able to come up here and do this, and being able, at the young age of 51, still being able to come up here and express myself and express my thoughts, and just being able to articulate stuff the way I can. I'm, grateful that I've been able to do that, because I've seen people my age around here, and some who are that are our age or older or looking, they look like they had a rough life. So I'm glad, I've been blessed that Lord gave me knowledge to, to or gave me the drive to get to not get the knowledge to, like I said, to take care of myself, to take care of my appearance. It ain't all about your looks. I don't sit up here and just jump in, look in the mirror and just think about be off and see it. Nah, but I try to take care of myself and be mindful how I look, as far as my skin and stuff, and try to, while I can, I understand at any moment in this life, an accident could happen that could disfigure me or could do something. And if that happened, I would take care of myself just like it was. But right now, I like try to take care of myself, try to take care of my skin, try to take care of, I don't got no damn hair on my head, so I just take care of my hair on my chin, and just try to, try to exercise, you know, try to try to make it where I can have a good quality of life as far as physically being able to provide, because you can't provide if you're not healthy. You can't do nothing if you're not healthy. So relatively healthy. Like I said, this it's a countdown. All of us, it's a countdown to the end. 'Cause we all dying slowly. Really, that's to be real with it. So um, I'm just like I said, try to do what I can do. Try to do what I can do when I can do it. As Chris Tucker said. So I'm just trying to be able to, like I said, try to get what I can, give what I can when I can. You know, I'm trying to. God gave me the, like I said, I'm not about to get out preaching because I'm not no damn. I don't get in all that, all that preaching. One day we'll talk. One day, in honor of my man, and again, we're gonna have this conversation about religion one day. That's not today, but I'm glad that the Lord has, like I said, to bless me with the knowledge, and the drive to try to make a difference. It took me a while. I had to go through things in life. Had to go through, you don't know when, you be able to do stuff. I had this, there was nothing that happened to say, hey, man, let me start trying to do this. Nah, I just had this, my man talked about it. And, I started thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, man, my wife tell me I talk too damn much anyway, so I might as well come up here and talk to y'all. So yes, and like I said, feel it's just it's just a natural thing. So that's why I feel like it's just so easy to do it. So what I'm doing now, just trying to sharpen up my skills, just trying to get better at that, so I can be give y'all the best of me, and that's my goal. And that's what I'm striving to do. You know, give y'all the very very best of me. You know. So I also want to let y'all know it's hot as hell out there. I hope y'all keeping cool out there. Lord, oh my God, we out there sweating. Be out here, still be out here doing these deliveries out here. I'll be sweating hard, but still, it don't fade me or anything because I'll keep, I prepare for it. Keep my face, keep everything sweating, but it'll be hot. But and I still be out here doing it because in a way I look at it as exercise too. Understand. I know that I'm not. I'm 51. I'm not 21. So I know my limitations. So I'm not gonna be out here trying to be Superman. But I like for a little while being out here. It sort of makes me keeps me in shape. Keeps me in shape. It keeps me. Excuse me. I'm very sorry. It keeps me in shape because before I go because I went to Fayetteville State University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. What's the attitude check, Bronco pride, and then I had some. There were a couple people in my dorm. They were from Florida. They were. I forgot what part, and I forgot their name. Forgive me. I just I met so many different people. I don't remember everybody's names, but they were from Florida. They were tall. They were like they didn't play on the basketball team, but they played basketball. But we all chilling in Bryan Hall right off of Murchison Road. I think it's gone now, but people who know they know Bryan Hall. You know, but it was sitting chilling. We were just relaxing, fellowship and whatever, brotherhood. But I asked him, I said, well, why are the players in Florida better than everybody else? Because back then it was all about Florida. It was Texas too, a little bit, but it was more Florida than Texas. So I asked him, I said, why are the players in Florida better than everybody? He was like, man, because of that heat. I said, man, they playing that heat 24/7. I mean, it's always hot out there. I said, they always playing that heat. There's no relief from it. They don't get, where it's cold out there during Christmas, when it's cold, and players be playing out here when it's cold, 10, 15, or -10, whatever. Nah, they out here playing, the coldest they playing is 60 degrees. Out here playing 80, 100, out here practicing all that weather. So out here doing that in that weather, man, that's gonna create, great athletes. It's great exercise, great stamina, as long as you don't overdo it. So that's what I try to do, man. I'm a little grateful to go out here and being able to keep myself in shape, keep myself at a decent weight, keep myself relatively healthy. I'm gonna have to start going to the doctor because it's about that time, about that time. The check engine light is on, so I gotta get that thing looked at. So, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I like to thank everybody for being here with me today. Sorry I've been away for so long, man. I'll be back with you Friday. And I think I might start doing something. I'm on Friday, whoever tell you can. I'm gonna have a top five show. I'm gonna do some lists, the top five lists, have some lists about things. And and to one of the previews, and I'm gonna let you know one of the previews of one of the lists I'm gonna have. This one's gonna be personal. I'm gonna have a couple personal lists. I'm gonna have like different things, best actor, rapper, all that stuff. But one of the lists I'm gonna have is top five running backs from my high school. You know, I already got the list, and I already know. There's people off of it. I'm gonna give respect to people that came before. That people don't talk about no more. But yeah, it's gonna get real. We're gonna talk about that. I don't want nobody feelings hurt, nothing personal, but yeah, we're gonna talk about. We're gonna have some lists. We're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about who I think did this and who I think was more accomplished than this and that. So yeah, I didn't do the best. I might do the best run back, and I'm gonna do the best team. The best, like since I've been playing since 1990 on, the best team. I do that because I didn't, because I don't have a lot of knowledge of the teams before from 1990 on. The best team. We're gonna do that too. So yeah, we'll see what's going on. I can't wait either, and it's gonna be real, my man. It's gonna be real. With that being said, I'd like to thank y'all for being here with me today. Try to, like I said, I'm trying to do this thing like 3 times a week if I can. Like I said, we'll do that here Friday around this time in the afternoon. I'm gonna let y'all know. Like I said, we're doing that top five. Hopefully to see y'all. And another thing, my man, July 19th. Check in with my man Lou Jenkins. We had that brothers talk. July 19th, we'll be up there. We cut it up real good. You know, I love it. I love it. We had a good time there, and y'all love it. And this is it's gonna be a beautiful thing. And I hope y'all like it, man. I hope y'all support us. Support. We're trying to do something. Like I said, let's go, brother, man. Is trying to do something in the neighborhood. It's trying to do something for the people, man. Trying to do something bigger than us. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad y'all here with me. I love all of y'all. Like I said, kiss your kids, kiss your loved ones, tell them how you feel, tell them how you love, because you never know, man. Things might change. You might not get the chance again. I love y'all. Y'all have a great evening.